freaked out by either the cow dying or the cow looking like it had rabies. They're more likely to call you and not wait till, well, let me wait till Monday. No, they're not going to do that because of the severity of the condition. Okay? All right. Now, obviously, if we're treating this animal and it's showing severe seizures, then what do we have to do? What do we have to give it? We got to give value to something. Number one, we got to keep this animal from traumatizing itself from the seizures. Now, I mean, that's in those cases where you had bad seizures. I personally have not had one that had, you know, severe seizures, but that doesn't mean squat. You can't have it. If you have seizures, then you treat the seizures first. Okay. Any questions on that stuff? All right. We got one more day, and I'm going to ask y'all how you want to do this. We got one more day. We are not going to get through all of it in one day. So my thought is this. I'm going to go through the stuff that I think is kind of crazy and highlight the other stuff. And come Monday, answer any and all questions. And then, like, do like a review through everything that's going to be on the test. Does that work for y'all? Or you don't want to do it a different way? Don't matter to me. All right. Okay. Before anybody asks, yes, this is my handwriting. It is not pretty. It is neat. All right. Do not walk around saying it's pretty. It's neat.
Very nice.
No, it's not pretty. It's neat. It's pretty neat. Can you keep Okay, listeriosis. You guys have heard a lot about listeriosis in PATH, right? Listeriosis, circulating disease, silent disease. All right, now, I realize somebody's going to say, well, this is a non-infectious disease class. Why are we talking about infectious disease? Because it shows a neurologic syndrome that resembles some non-infectious type neurologic diseases. So we're going to throw it in the mix. Okay. Now, the listeriosis. Listeria monocyte gene, you've had that a million times. Okay. You can have neurologic form. You can have a septicemic form. You can have abortion. Right? So it can affect all those things. You have meningoencephalitis, you can have abortion, you can have septicemia. All the above. We're kind of talking about the neurologic. The neurologic is associated with microabscessation in the brainstem. Right? It is considered a cerebrocortical type disease. So since it's cerebrocortical, it shows blindness with what? Blindness with what? If it's got cortical blindness. Blindness with intact PLR reflexes. Okay? That is the definition of cortical blindness. Somebody says why? Because PLRs go through a synaptic reflex that does not require the cortex of the brain. Okay? So you can have cortical blindness, but your PLR reflexes are intact. All right? Microabscessation. The other big feature is cranial nerve dysfunction. All right? It leads to unilateral facial paralysis. All right? Now, I know it says circling. Do they all circle? No. That's not the reason why we're not trying to key on circle. We're not trying to key on circling because not only do they not all circle, but there's some other diseases that can cause an animal to circle. right? If you say circling and head tilt, what else could cause an animal to circle and have a head tilt? We got parasites in the ears, we can have vestibular disease, all right? Any of those can cause the exact same thing, all right? Nothing else is gonna cause unilateral facial paralysis other than like baseball bat, okay? You're not gonna have unilateral facial paralysis. I think cranial nerve dysfunction between 5 and 12 in terms of the number of the cranial nerve, particular cranial nerves, but leading to unilateral facial paralysis. Yeah.
I know cats and dogs can get like the idiopathic vestibular disease. Isn't that common in cattle too?
Not really. Not really. You know, cattle are, cattle are kind of about the toughest critters walking around, really. You know, unless they're purebred and registered. Then they lose some of that. But, you know, cattle are just, I don't know, they're refractory though for a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, how do you get it? Animals that are being fed poorly prepared silage, moist preserved feeds, or dead or decaying vegetable matter. So what does that mean? Take the last one first. If I got a feed trough that I put a lot of feed into, all right, and it rained, all right, and this stuff got wet, and the cows kind of stayed away from it. And then later on they got hungry and they went back, and they had that decaying, dead vegetable matter in there. That's a really good medium for Listeria monocytes to grow. Okay, moist preserved feeds, poorly prepared silage. All right. The pH of properly prepared silage is supposed to be below 5. So when that pH is above 5, all right, it can lend toward proliferation of Listeria monocytes. So silage, all right, was like second on the list, really. But dead, decaying vegetable matter or plant matter, concern for this, and preserved feed that got moist. All three of those are good mediums for the growth of monocytes. Okay, these things show anorexia, depression, circling, head pressing, fever, unilateral paralysis, head tilt, proprioceptive deficits. Okay, the first three, anorexia, depression, head pressing. Just eliminate the circle. Yeah.
I'm a little confused about the pH. Did you say that properly prepared silage should be above 5?
No, the pH should be below.
Okay.
Below 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it on there right. Poorly prepared, the pH should be above 5, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so looking at clinical signs. Anorexia, depression, head pressing. All right, we'll eliminate the circling temporarily. Those three only mean that you may have neurologic disease. All right, any cow that's seriously sick can show anorexia, depression, and if they're depressed enough, they'll do the head pressing. So don't get caught up in that. That's kind of like animals showing difficulty breathing. Okay, well, yeah, there's a whole lot of pneumonias where animals shows difficulty breathing, respiratory condition, where animals shows difficulty breathing. The idea is it difficulty breathing on inhalation or exhalation or particular sound, particular sounds that you auscultate. So with this, don't get caught up in memorizing anorexia, depression, and head pressing. Because you can have that with lead poisoning, you can have that with salt poisoning, you can have that with polyocephalation. What I'm saying is it's not going to help you differentiate anything. All right? So, things you need to key in on. Those cranial nerve deficits leading to unilateral facial paralysis. unilateral facial paralysis. With the head tilt and proprioceptive deficits, we can get that with a lot of things. But listeriosis has a fever, all right, caused by bacteria. So that fever is an important component. Because if we're talking about that same poliocephalation, lead poisoning, and salt poisoning, none of those have fevers. Why should they? You know, you don't have an etiological agent. All right, so when we start talking about how ways to differentiate these neurologic conditions, you got to key in on certain things. Okay, most common differentials: trauma, poliocephalation, ear infection, parasite infestation. So in other words, do a good physical. Yeah.
How in the world do you do a proprioceptive test on a cow?
Well, kind of like a horse, you can try to cross their legs and see if they stay like that. If you got them in the chute, you could try that. You know, on the cow, I just look at how they walk.
Okay.
You know, that whole thing, manipulating the limbs and all of that, I'm like, yeah. You know, if I've got a cow out in the pasture, and she's moving slow or moving across a pen, and you try to make them go in a certain direction, or if they cross their legs and do one of these, probably proprioceptive deficits. Okay? Because they don't know where their feet are. You have to do stuff like that, because like I said, yeah, the book says proprioceptive exam and all that, but yeah, highly unlikely. You know, me personally, I don't want to reach inside of a chute and try to grab a cow's foot and pull it over to see what it's going to do. Since they're going to plant their feet, how you going to lift it? Now you got to put a rope on it. Now that the rope is on it, how do you know whether they're going with the rope or they got an actual proprioceptive deficit? So it's more like observation of how these animals move. Okay. All right. So our diagnostic plan. Okay, we can look at CSF fluid. Like I said, we're going to kind of look at our history and that kind of thing on this. If we've got that unilateral facial paralysis, we got those cranial nerve dysfunction, then most likely we got listeriosis. Okay, and associated with a fever. So unilateral facial paralysis, quote unquote circling, fever, those things are going to separate from other diseases. All right. Now, fortunately, the treatment, you can look on there and see what you see in necropsy. Pulling CSF fluid, you can look for elevated protein and lymphocytes. How often do we pull CSF fluid in cattle? Not that often. Okay. But treatment. Fortunately, this is pretty much susceptible to a number of antibiotics. Penicillin is probably top of the list, but penicillin, tetracycline, cephalosporins, all the above. Thing you need to remember also, very, very important, it is zoonotic. Everybody in here heard about bluebell ice cream, some listeriosis. All right, you're strong for it?
Just had to be tested.
Okay. All right, when I was at UT, they pulled blood on all the clinicians and all the interns to see, and did serologic studies to see what folks had been exposed to. And, you know, I like, you know, it rang like the dinner bell on me. Like, you've been exposed to everything. You haven't had anything. Like, thank you. I appreciate that. Don't mind. Let me run into it. But don't let me catch it. Okay, so, treatment, antibiotics, pretty treatable, but remember it is zoonotic when you're consuming milk or milk products. So you need to tell that to your clients, especially if you got dairy clients. Yeah.
So in that ice cream, that came from the cat?
Huh?
That listeria, I thought it was just like growed in the tank or something.
It's possible, but you could also, like I said, it could have been transmitted from the cattle.
Oh, would you, I didn't know that, okay.
Good thing to know. All right, so it is zoonotic by way of consumption of the milk or products thereof. Okay. All right. Let's see, which one of these is the strongest? Okay. Polioencephalation. You guys have had salt poisoning, right? Eosinophilic cuffing in pigs and all that. You had that in pathology, correct? All right. It's caused by salt poisoning, which a lot of times is associated with water deprivation, or can be associated with feeding feeds that are high in salt content, like fish meals and kelp-based products, and people feeding bakery products. All right, sounds strange. But we did have a client that came in here and was feeding stale bread to his calves. Okay? Well, bread is high in salt. All right? Or cheese byproducts. You know, the way that comes from cheese. All right? Those things are high in salt. Most commonly, it is associated with water deprivation. And they talk about it in the wintertime. If you go west in the United States, it is also associated with oil wells. How is it associated with oil wells? All right, tests on the Oklahoma State Board. All right, they want to know if I've got some cattle and they're grazing around oil wells, what will happen? I put down their toxicity. I figured they're getting that from the oil. No, the answer was salt toxicity, because they flushed oil wells with salt water, and cattle are pretty indiscriminate about what they eat and put in their mouths, so it makes them highly susceptible to salt poisoning because they're drinking this brackish water or contaminated water. Now, me being from the East Coast, what do I know about flushing an oil well? Nada. Okay? So I was like, well, that's a question I'll just have to miss. I don't know. What do you do? I'm not from Texas. I don't know. Okay? So, let's see. Going back, polioencephalation. Polioencephalation is a thiamine deficiency. Thiamine is essential to metabolism of glucose in the brain. It's the kind of weird one. Like I said, salt and lead poisoning you can figure out. Polioencephalation is weird. Thiamine deficiency, necessary to, like I said, metabolism of glucose in the brain. So it's kind of important. Now, there's a number of different ways you can have thiamine deficiency. You can ingest those plants that have thiaminases, all right, that have the enzymes that break down thiamine. All right, bracken fern, top of the list. Okay? You can have excessive feeding of concentrates. Change your gut flora, and certain Clostridium and I think Bacillus species produce thiaminases. All right? You can have diets that are low in roughage. A lot of times with cattle, this is a kind of feedlot type disease. They're getting a lot of grains, but they're not getting a lot of roughage. Or you can have ingestion of diets that are high in sulfur. All right, so those are all ways in which you can have a thiamine deficiency. All right, last but not least, to confuse things really, really well. All right, thiamine is picked up by certain receptor sites. Everybody knows what amprolium is? All right, what do you use amprolium for? All right, treating coccidia. All right, so it's commonly used. Amprolium will compete with thiamine for receptor sites. Okay? So if you're using amprolium, then the thiamine can't function. All right? So if you got somebody who decided, well, my calves had coccidia, doc, I saw bloody diarrhea, so I went ahead and got some amprolium and gave it to them. Now they're showing neurologic signs. I don't know why, because I treated for the coccidia. They very well could have caused a thiamine deficiency. So now they have pulmonary self-molation. Okay. Clinical signs of pistotonus, which is excessive rigidity. All right, nystagmus, dorsal medial strabismus, runal movements, blindness, cortical blindness. On top of that, they are anorexic and they are depressed. All right, and they show ataxia, which is consistent with all neurologic diseases. What I'd be seriously considering and remembering is opisthotonus, dorsal medial strabismus, all right, crazy freaky eye movement. The fact that they still have ruminal movements, all right, there's a number of neurologic diseases that the rumen, you have ruminal acne, all right, they still have ruminal movements in poliocephalus. All right, the cortical blindness, like I said, it's consistent across 2 or 3 different diseases, but they have. These animals go down, they can have seizures, die relatively rapidly. Okay. Obviously, the treatment is thiamine. Since it leads towards cerebral edema, we got to give them steroids to cut down on that cerebral edema. And if they have seizures, we need to give it Valium. Okay. Now, if you've got a goat that comes in, that's down and showing a pistotonus,